Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Nove Modena Automatic reference H003-02. This piece is available from nove.com for €576 in three colour options. The blue colour version we're looking at here, and also silver and black respectively. So with regards to the Nove brand name, it's interesting. Nove means new in Latin, and that is apt because it is a relatively new Swiss microbrand. Nove was founded in 2018. So firstly, let's look at the box that the watch comes in, and then I'll talk you through the other items one gets with the piece. So the Nove Modena Automatic comes with this matte black outer protective watch box, and this is the watch case itself, which is a hard shell travel case style watch case, and as you can see, the zip is branded with the Nove brand emblem. Nice contrast to the red zip and the black hard shell. One opens it and the watch sits on a piece of foam inside a foam cutout panel, so it does suffice in protecting the watch in shipping. There's also a lycra elasticated strip which holds the warranty card, booklet and owner's instruction manual. So useful travel case, and I think a credible alternative to using a wooden watch box or alternatively a plastic watch box. With regards to the other items, this is the rubber tag that comes with the Modena Automatic, and on the reverse we have the reference number for the blue version. This is the user manual and warranty booklet, and it has a diagram with the three crown setting positions and also instructions for the time setting and setting the date complication. It also details the specifications of the movement used in the piece, and on the reverse we have a plastic warranty card. Now I'm pleased to report that the Nove Modena Automatic comes with a 2-year international warranty, which is very reassuring, and if you purchase this piece from nove.com, the warranty card will be stamped, dated and filled in with the reference number and the serial number of your Modena Automatic. One also gets two cards. One of the cards is blank, but on the bottom it has the Instagram handle at Nove Watch. And this card thanks you for your purchase, and it says welcome to the Novist life. And it also invites you to share pictures of your watch at Instagram at Nove Watch. Lastly, one also gets this Nove branded microfiber polishing cloth. I always think it's a nice touch, irrespective of the price point of a piece, to get a branded microfiber polishing cloth. So with regards to the specifications of the Modena Automatic, it is a large piece at 44mm, but it has a relatively short 48mm lug-to-lug measurement and a relatively low profile 12.6mm thickness, including the double dome sapphire crystal, which has AR coating on the underside. 24mm lug width, which is large, but however, bearing in mind it's a 44mm case diameter, the 24mm lug width and 24mm bracelet does balance the head of the piece well. The bracelet has geometric links, and the bracelet is straight and parallel rather than being tapered down to the 2-button push deploying clasp. The 2-button push clasp is signed with the silver brand emblem, and that's a nice contrast to the blue electroplated finish. The two triggers to the deployants have a nice spring-loaded action, good firm resistance, solid stainless steel milled interior, which is made from 316L grade. So the bracelet, the head of the piece and also the clasp are fully made from 316L, which is either mirror polished or brushed satin finish and then electroplated blue throughout. The quality of the electroplating is absolutely flawless, as you can see, and the links are nicely electroplated with mirror polished centre links, which contrast well with the brushed satin finish outer links. So they've done a good job to the head of the piece in terms of finishing, and also with regards to the bracelet finishing, absolutely flawless throughout. One feature I like about the Modena Automatic is the automotive influences. It has vented lugs, which are quite unusual to see on a mid-tier piece, and that really does carry through the automotive influence, as does the heatsink textured dial. So the heatsink textured dial is meant to replicate the heatsink on an engine, and it does add interest because it's also graduated. It has a silver white tone to the centre section, which graduates to the blue outer circumference, and that does contrast very well with the silver dot applied indices and also the silver framing of the date complication at 3. Baton style hands, which are beveled, and they also have arrowhead points, and the baton hands are highly reflective, but they are easy to read against the graduated dial, which has that engine heatsink finish to it. I like the contrasting red text of automatic at 6 o'clock, and I like the fact the dial isn't overbranded with text or unnecessary specification. Clearly legible, and the double dome sapphire crystal is enhanced in performance by having AR coating on the underside. The brushed satin finished bezel is well executed, and they've done a very good job of electroplating it throughout. And I really like the design of it. It's something unique. This isn't an homage to any other watch. The Modena Automatic is a completely original design. So I'll give you a wrist shot and you can see how it fits on my 8-inch wrist. Now I haven't sized the watch. I've simply taken it out of the watch box and put it on wrist, and I'm pleased to report that it will fit up to an 8.5-inch wrist with no difficulties. As you can see, I have an 8-inch wrist and I can easily slide an index finger underneath the 2-button push deploying clasp at all times. So you'll have no problems if you have a large wrist, but however, a word of caution, if you're a collector with a smaller wrist of 6 to 7 inches, you may find the 44mm case to be too large with too much wrist presence to wear for comfort for long periods of time. So this really is a piece for collectors with a larger wrist of 7 to 8 inches because it does have heft. It's 175 grams with all the links in the geometric bracelet. So it's a good heavy bracelet and it does feel well balanced, bearing in mind that it's 24mm and it's straight, it's parallel, it doesn't taper down to the 2-button push deploying clasp as I've discussed. But I think they've got the proportions correct because at 44mm it really does need a wide 24mm lug width to balance the head of the piece. The benefit of the rather short 46mm lug-to-lug measurement is it does fit very snugly and close to the wrist, and at only 12.6mm including the double dome sapphire crystal, it is a surprisingly low profile and comfortable piece. So yes, it's heavy and yes, it is large, but it is also comfortable to wear for long periods of time if you are a collector with a 7 to 8 inch wrist. The 175 grams of heft isn't particularly noticeable because of the balance between the bracelet and the head of the piece, so I think Nove deserve full credit for getting the balance right. Now with regards to the case back, screw down exhibition case back made from 316L grade stainless steel, centre section is glazed with sapphire crystal, and Nove deserve full credit for not cutting corners with regards to the specification. They could have cut corners by using mineral crystal, but they've used sapphire crystal on both the front and the reverse of the piece, and I think that is a good point. So very well executed, screw down exhibition case back, 200 meters of hermetic seal, and the signed screw down knurled stainless steel crown also provides a 200 meter hermetic seal, silky smooth thread, and it's got an interesting feel. Because it's got the Ronda caliber R150 movement, it's got more resistance. One can feel the resistance building up in the mainspring more when one manually winds it to its maximum 40-hour power reserve. So it's got a heavier feel than a Sellita SW200-1 or alternatively an ETA 2824-2, which you might be familiar with. But I like that characteristic firm resistance of the caliber R150. I like to feel the tension building up in the mainspring. In terms of the interface between the internal thread of the solid stainless steel crown and the external thread of the stainless steel crown tube, they mesh very well. The interface is very good. There's a good pickup between the threads, and it is silky smooth to screw back down the crown and reinstate that 200 meters of hermetic seal. So I like it. The crown is very well finished. The plating to it is very good, and the threading is also very good. Nice that they've signed it with the Nove brand emblem, and on the left hand flank we have a contrasting silver button which also is signed with the Nove brand emblem. So it's an interesting design. One thing I like about it is they've used solid stainless steel screws in the vented lugs rather than using spring bars, which are the more conventional option. So it's clear that the build quality and also the design execution are done to a very high standard. Now, one minor criticism is the use of push pins in the bracelet links. At this price point, which is €576, it is a mid-tier piece. I would prefer to see screw pins used rather than push pins, but however, this is subjective. Some collectors actually prefer push pins because they make resizing the bracelet easy. I personally like to use a screwdriver and screw pins, but it's personal taste. So let's do a lume test and we'll see how the lume performs when it's charged up to its absolute peak performance. So as always, I'm going to use my 100 UV LED torch to charge it up to its absolute peak. Now there's no lume on the applied indices, but however we do have superluminova on the baton style hands. Right, so the lume on the hands is superluminova, and we can clearly see it's C3 superluminova. Nice thick layers of C3 superluminova. The baton hands are glowing very brightly, and they're also continuing to glow for a good length of time. So this is top quality C3 superluminova. It's clear that Nove haven't cut any corners with regards to the quality of the lume. However, I would prefer to see larger applied indices and them to loom the indices rather than not loom them, because I think that would add to the specification of the Modena Automatic. But on the hands, they've done a good job, and one can clearly read the time in the dark, which is the purpose of the C3 Superluminova. So good they haven't cut any corners with regards to specification. Now, with regards to the movement, this is something interesting about the piece because it uses a rather unusual movement. Usually with mid-tier Swiss pieces, the Sellita SW200-1 or alternatively the ETA 2824-2 are the two default options. For Chinese-made pieces, one usually expects to see a Seiko NH35A, which we're all familiar with. So this uses the Ronda Caliber R150, which is a relatively new movement. Ronda released it at Baselworld in 2016, and it's a compromise between the NH35A and the SW200-1. The Ronda Caliber R150 really sits between the two. It's a level above the NH35A in quality, but a level below the SW200-1 and the ETA 2824-2 respectively. Similar specifications to the ETA 2824-2 in that it has 25 joules and it runs at the same 28,800 vibrations per hour and 4 Hz. Now, as you'll know from my previous reviews, one thing I like about 4 Hz movements is they give a characteristic smooth sweep to the second hand. I personally prefer the 4 Hz sweep to the 3 Hz sweep of Seiko movements, which run at 21,600 vibrations per hour. The 28,800 vibrations per hour of this 4 Hz movement give a smoother sweep, and that's something I really like about it. So the R150, although it's a relatively new movement because it's only been in use since 2016, it is reliable, well proven and a good solid workhorse movement, and it really is a good choice for a micro brand like Nove. I can understand why they've chosen it over the SW200-1 because for the simple reason it's possible to buy Ronda movements in smaller quantities. With Sellita and ETA respectively, they have larger MOQs, minimum order quantities, and often for a new microbrand, and bear in mind that Nove was founded in only 2018. Without large capital, it is hard for them to purchase large MOQs of SW200-1s or ETA 2824-2s from Sellita or ETA respectively. With Ronda, they can purchase smaller quantities, such as this Caliber R150, so it makes it easier for them to produce watches. And I think that the R150 is a sensible choice. It is a level above the NH35A in build quality. Now, with regards to the accuracy, it's stated as plus or minus 12 seconds per day. However, I'm pleased to report that this one is well regulated and it's running at plus 6 seconds per day, which is very good. So I think the R150 is a reliable, well-proven, solid workhorse movement, and I prefer to see it than an NH35A. However, at €576, I would personally prefer to see an SW200-1. So lastly, I'll surmise the piece. What do I think of it overall? Well, when I'm considering reviewing a watch on my channel, the watch should meet two criteria. It should be both excellent quality and excellent value at the respective price points. So the price point of this piece is €576. Yes, I consider it to be good quality, and yes, I consider it to be good value. I would like to see loom applied to the indices and the proportions of the indices scaled up because that would improve the performance. And I would also like to see a higher grade of movement such as the Sellita SW200-1. But other than that, this specification is strong. Double dome sapphire crystal with AR coating, C3 Superluminova, it's Swiss made, and we do have a good quality Swiss made Ronda Caliber R150, which is a respectable movement. 200 meters of water resistance, again, is strong specification. So I think the value is there and also the quality is there, so I'm going to recommend it to you for your consideration. I hope you've enjoyed my review of the Nove Modena Automatic, reference H003-02. Please feel free to post your own comments below the video. Thank you very much.